Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
The views expressed by J. Michael McCoy are the views of the hosts and guests of Max World Live, and not necessarily the views of Webcast One Live, its staff, its management, the cleaning crew, Dave the electric guy, the guy who cleans the skywalk, the woman who brought in the cookies, the management staff of Hubble Real Estate, the parking lot attendant at Keck Parking, the wait staff over at Miss Kitty's, the coffee crew at Frederick's, the man in the street corner willing to work for food, Rob Spearman, Max Crabb, or anyone else of sound mind. Should you be offended, provoked, intimidated, shocked, confused, or just made to think independently, log on to MaxWorldLive.com right now. It's your voice we want to hear in Max World. And now, live from the palatial studios of Webcast One Live, your host, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, welcome. It is the 27th day of February in the Lord's year 2014. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and welcome to this special edition of Max World with Bradshaw. Bradshaw does not get well. You're a responsible human being with a full-time job and bills to pay and all that kind of stuff now.
Yeah, I'm back in West Des Moines. Life is good.
And you're a real smart computer guy full-time now, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you help people who call in and have problems with their stuff. All right,
I fix your things. I make them go.
Congratulations, and glad you have a full-time job. It's always fun to get together with Bradshaw. We had planned this a week ago, and it just so happened that the opposite ends of our world is blowing up with this situation in Arizona and Governor Jan Brewer's veto of the religious rights bill. So it'll be something fun for us to talk to. We've also got a newcomer in Paul Smith. Paul, how are you?
Fantastic, Mac. How about yourself?
Good. Long-time listener, but first time on the air. And then, of course, the voice, Frank, of FranklySpeakingLive.com. Did you know that he had his own show now?
They're like candy. They're giving them out. It's like free condoms. They're just, you get them at a high school.
Every Friday at 5:30? 5:30, Frank?
Yes.
Every Friday at 5:30. He does his show. And so you've done three?
Three.
And you've got a cohort. Co-host.
You have a minion?
Yes.
And who is that?
David Kanyuk.
Yeah, you guys you go back and forth pretty good.
Yeah.
But you both agree.
Yeah.
You found another person who agrees with you?
Well, my daughter recommended him, and I told him right off the bat, disagreement makes for better radio.
Right.
So I said, let's not try to agree.
If two people always agree, one of them isn't necessary. That's why Bradshaw and I were both necessary for 5 years.
What was it that the general in the military said, that when everybody's thinking alike, nobody's thinking?
Yeah, there you go. So anyway,
that's pretty much how we got the F-35, wasn't it?
And Ryan is producing, and he's always he's got his own camera and mic in there, so he can join whenever he wants. So later on, we're going to talk about some of the presidential stuff that's going on, but we're going to start out with this Arizona issue. Now, you can call in. Toll free is 1-855-244. 0077. If you're local, just call the 244-0077, and we're going to have a respectable conversation about something that I think you and I are probably the farthest apart on, this topic of religious rights and civil rights and things like that.
We are probably far away from that.
Yeah.
Luckily, most of the nation is with me.
No, I wouldn't say most of the nation's with you. However, you do
most of the nation's with me.
You do have the squeaky wheel. Well, if 57% of the nation is Christian, then you'd have only 43% if they were all on your side.
But they're not all fundamentalists.
Well, now, in California, the Hispanics and the blacks, which the blacks voted for Obama.
You mean Californians?
Californians.
Okay.
90% of Californian blacks voted for Obama, but 70% of them voted against the gay marriage amendment when it came up in California, along with about 70% of the Hispanics. So how do you assert that the rest of the world is with you?
Well, one.
By the way, there's never been a referendum in a state in the United States that voted yay or gay against a gay marriage that passed. Every state has said no to gay marriage, no to gay marriage, no to gay marriage.
It's only winning in the courts.
Right. Yeah. They're not fair in the courts.
Which means that
what makes them unfair in the courts?
Well,
because it's stacked with liberals.
Which means that instead of all of America with Bradshaw, about 12 people are.
But hold on. So liberals are incapable of being unbiased. That's your hypothesis?
No, but you have.
Because that's what you just said.
The left has an agenda. And they're out to make sure their agenda gets. They've been doing this for 30 or 40 years now. It was to get on the city councils, to get in the police departments, to get in government. They think they've got the pieces in place. They think they got the president in place. They had the majorities in the House.
You have a corporatist, centrist president, and you think he's the most liberal. I mean, you guys see conspiracies around every rock and every corner, and maybe that's just because they're black. But the point being is, look at interracial marriage. I mean, something that really came to the forefront in the 1960s. And even into the early 90s, there was not majority support in this country when you would do opinion polls. It took until those mid to late 90s. That is a long period of time for a majority of Americans to believe that it would be okay for me to marry and procreate with Holly Berry, something that I think is okay at any time, any moment, anywhere.
And obviously she's opposed to it.
She may have.
Have you ever
but hold on. When you look at
because she has good taste.
Probably. When you look at same-sex marriage, it started in the late 1990s, early 2000s as, almost no support. Somewhere around America going communism, Tea Party, Dick Cheney. I mean, low levels of support. And in almost no time, it's achieved through most opinion polls nationwide, a majority of support. And I think the last numbers I saw even showed 40% of Republicans support same-sex marriage. I mean, this is the definition of a dead end issue that only either the most hardened believers or, in my opinion, the most craven opportunists are going to stand up and wave the flag for at this point. I mean, there's always going to be a Vanderplatz or someone out there looking to raise money.
You discount the 40 years of secular humanism that's been taught in the public school system that's laid the groundwork for all of this.
What show me in the curriculum where there's secular humanism. You make these. What does that mean to you? Explain it to me.
That means that we hand out ribbons to everybody. We don't play dodgeball. We don't want to point somebody out. We don't want to isolate somebody. We don't make no value judgments on people because everybody's right. If Johnny says 2 + 2 is 5, we can't condemn Johnny for saying 2 + 2 is 5.
Where's the evidence of this? Show me what you're talking about other than a talking point. I'd love to see it because that sounds absolutely insane to me.
How about the Ankeny school systems right now where it's impossible to fail? You can retake an exam as often as you need to in order to reach an understanding of the material. I haven't seen that in real life.
No, I mean,
I haven't
nothing
had
to
the
do with
opportunity.
secular humanism or liberalism. That's school administrators wanting to make sure they don't lose any funding for lost students, along with your helicopter parents. And are you saying my little Johnny is anything less than perfect? I don't think so. That's why you have... It used to be, one thing when parents would come for like the disciplinary hearings. Now they're going to job interviews. I mean, I can't even imagine, when I would hire someone, right? It was awkward enough having them come in there and act all stiff and scared and stuff. But can you imagine someone's mom coming in with them to try to make that pitch? But that's happening now.
All right.
But I don't think that's liberal or conservative, Christian or otherwise. It's narcissism.
Well, is God being taught in school? Is prayer in school?
Well, no, prayer is not in school.
So what's the curriculum if God and prayer
Neither
is
is Mao's
school?
little red book. What's the point?
Seriously, you don't know the point? You know the point.
No,
You really don't know it?
No. What? Explain it to me, because I'm sorry. There's nothing new under the sun, and this is one of the things that conservatives have a hard time with. It's like we didn't just invent gay people. All right, they didn't just start popping up sometime around the late 1990s. Unless you're, hardcore, old school Mormon, black people didn't just pop up one day.
Well, you brought up.
We've had these things.
Okay.
And it's up to society to how we deal with them. And society is moving on. You know what? We're not going to have separate drinking fountains anymore. We're not going to have separate marriage anymore. And in Arizona, we're not going to have a bill to enshrine discrimination in law. I mean, Jan Brewer was getting
threatened.
Well, yeah. Well, no.
Financially blackmailed.
That's not blackmail. It's if you're Apple, for example, a company whose CEO happens to be a homosexual. Why would you do business? And they're looking to build a sapphire glass plant in Arizona. They're bringing some of their manufacturing back to the United States, started with their Max down in Texas, and I think we all can applaud that.
Okay,
why would you do business with that state? If you're the NFL, why do you want to deal with the blowback?
Okay.
For having a Super Bowl in Phoenix, it wasn't going to happen. So you can have your bill, or you can have the Super Bowl, and you can have the Apple factory.
I understand. You can go for human greed and religious bigotry, and all the money will flow in. Now,
bigotry.
Let's get some groundwork here so we make sure what we're talking about. You do not believe in Christianity.
I don't believe in any supernatural.
Okay. Therefore, any rights that this country offers me because of my religious faith, you don't believe I should have. Well, because you don't believe that.
No, those are two separate things. What do you mean by religious liberty? Well, I mean, do you have the right to believe and worship as you see fit? Absolutely.
All right. The Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, and you and I would agree there.
Well, I don't want that is written there, so yeah, I think we can agree there.
I don't want this to be a Christian state, a Muslim state. I want it to be an American government. But it continues. Or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm exercising my right as a Christian to choose not to have in my business, which happens to be a place for events in which Christ is obvious. I make no bones of my faith. There are crosses. In fact, it's in an old church, an old Lutheran church. And a gay couple targets this business, this poor couple, this Mennonite couple, who are 60 years old, have their entire life savings into this business, been there for 10 years, operated just fine. But a gay couple targets this business and said, will you hold our wedding for us? And they say, no, it is prohibited under the free exercise of my religion.
It's not prohibited. Where is that law?
What? Where is what law?
Where thou shalt not take money from sodomites or whatever. I mean,
No.
what scripture are we basing this on?
No, it's prohibiting the free exercise of my religion.
Okay.
My religion says that same-sex marriage is wrong. In fact, it is a sin. Now, let's hold on. Just let me get some groundwork.
All right.
Do you believe in sin?
Not really. I mean, probably not in the same sense.
All right. So
that you would, like, for example.
So if there's not an American law against it, in your opinion, I can do it.
Well, I think in America we should err on the side of freedom. I mean, I think, if you want to ban something, it's up to you to say there is a societal harm. Bath salts. All right, no one wants their face eaten, right? So, bath salts, all right, they're inherently legal. There's no law against them. If I want them banned, and they probably should be, it's up to me to prove, there is a societal benefit for banning them. There is harm for allowing them.
But since you don't recognize a creator, then there are no laws given to mankind from your creator.
He's making value judgments.
Right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
I mean, again, go back to Romulus and Remus or Horus. There's,
I don't know any of those things.
I know.
I
But
know you're smart.
there's a long history of mankind. For, the gods say this. For a long time, that's how kings stayed on their thrones, because God obviously said that my family, again, there's a history
We're
of that.
in 2014.
I know, but you say, do I believe that there are some sort of, laws that come down from Mount Olympus? No, but has society kind of worked those in?
Does the
Yes.
government tell me that I can exercise my religion freely?
Yes.
Okay.
But much like the right of free speech does not extend to libel,
I
slander,
understand.
that's against
I
the
understand.
president.
I'm okay
the
with
right
that.
to religious expression. Just for example, our
Frank?
our Rastafarian friends would say that perhaps the law gets in the way.
So if I own a business, a for-profit business that I pay for and I pay taxes on, and it's a wedding chapel in a church, and I have devout religious feelings about what marriage means, but if I turn a gay couple down, you're telling me, or are you telling me that they have the right to sue me?
Yes.
I don't agree.
Now, let's...
on what ground? I'm exercising my free right. I own the business.
Well,
I'm not a government entity. I'm not ISU with Gideon Bibles in the drawers. I'm just me, and I own a business, and I have, according to the United States Constitution, you cannot.
But you can.
All right, let's
ask Warren Jeffs if he's allowed to freely express his religious beliefs.
But that hurts people.
Let's make
that
this
physically hurts people.
Don't you, as a business owner, have the right to refuse service to
Woolworths
anyone?
learned that lesson that it's no back in the 1960s.
Okay, but this is not a civil rights issue.
Actually, it is, because here in the state of Iowa, sexual preference, that's a protected class.
What happens if I come into a store and I don't have shirt and shoes on? They refuse me service.
Correct.
What's
That's
the
health
difference?
code.
What is the difference?
Health code.
Yeah, this is the religious code. You can't prohibit me from exercising my free religion.
But you can. If Aztecs come here and build an altar, we don't let them sacrifice children.
All right,
even
that's
though it is
hurting somebody.
All right,
okay, we don't let Rastafarians, except in Colorado.
Who am I hurting when I tell the gay couple, I'm sorry, it's against my religion? How am I hurting
the gay couple?
Can they get married somewhere else?
Sure.
Okay, why can't they go down the road and do that?
I know. These are the exact same arguments made.
No,
it is. These are the exact same argument. You don't have to eat at my Woolworths.
No.
You can go to one of those fine colored establishments
being gay is
down
a choice.
there.
Being black is not. Okay,
when did you
never
choose to
forget
be
that.
straight? Do you
Sixth
remember the
grade,
date?
Mark Winchell, one night, he spent in the night, he leaned over, tried to kiss me. I jumped up and said, whoa, I like girls. I made a choice right there.
Make a choice. You didn't reciprocate those feelings.
We're coming back live here on Max World.
All across America, there are countless numbers of people struggling with addiction and other life-controlling issues. Probably someone you know and love. There is a way out. There is hope. Transformations Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida, has a unique approach to substance abuse treatment. Call now and ask about our Guaranteed Success program or log on to transformationstreatment.com. Transformations. Change your life. Change your relationships. Transform your world.
Yes, now your favorite programs on Webcast One Live can all be watched and listened to on any Android or Apple device. Your phone, tablet, or iPad. Yes, your favorite shows on Webcast One Live are available live or on podcast wherever you go. Let me introduce to you some of our great shows.
Shalom. Every week on Understanding the World with Rabbi David Kaufman, we'll talk about issues in the Middle East, issues related to the Jewish tradition and religious traditions in general, and keep you up to date on exactly what's going on around the world. You may know some of the story, but you haven't heard all of the story until you've heard it on Understanding the World with Rabbi David Kaufman and our special guests we have on every week.
Hey, this is Doc with Doc and Lefty. I want to tell you about our brand new time slot. It's from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's on the same night, Tuesdays. We now follow Ed Fallon and the Fallon Forum on webcast1live.com. I want to tell you a little bit about our show. Our show is focused on local, state, and national, and sometimes international politics. We like to keep people updated and informed. We also have very interesting guests. So please join us every Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on webcast1live.com.
So when you want to watch your favorite Webcast One program, remember, there's an app for that. You know, there's an app for that.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
All right, it's 9 before the top, and we are live here on Max World Live. If this is being replayed on the radio at some point, our times are going to be off, and I apologize. We are recording this program, and we are broadcasting this program live the day after Governor Janet Brewer vetoed the religious rights bill in Arizona. And so we may replay this show in the next couple of weeks. So if the times are off, that's fine. My special guest is Bradshaw. Bradshaw and I did secular radio on the terrestrial band for about 5 years together. He and I are 179 degrees apart, but pretty much total opposites, but I have a tremendous amount of respect for him.
We've reached a détente.
We have. Is that what we've reached?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I just don't.
It was Cold War there for a while.
I love you no matter what, and you.
Let's just be friends.
You present yourself in a way that I think it's good conversation, and I still believe, as you and I have always believed, I think people would rather listen to two people discussing different points of view on a topic than hearing somebody like Rush Limbaugh. Nothing against Rush, but this 3 hours of pontification, I'm just not sure that's. I think communication has advanced beyond that in radio and
I have a great deal against Rush, mostly just because, again, I'm sober. But
and I also have Paul Smith, who's a listener and a friend, and Frank, the voice, who does his show, Frankly Speaking, live.com, right here on webcast1live.com every Friday. Now, you very patiently waited for me to kind of lay some groundwork with Bradshaw. The groundwork we laid is there's no such thing as sin. There's only man's law, and that he has no allegiance to a greater power.
But he's making he's making.
I swear on Jupiter's stone.
Every day of his life, he's making value judgments on good and evil, based on something. Mm-hmm. If not God, if not a moral absolute, you're basing it on moral relativity. So let's say for example, the Orthodox Jews got their way, and they could go back to animal sacrifice. Do you think PETA would have their underwear in a bunch? You think they'd be in an uproar? You think somebody might not want to have some PETA business might turn down some Orthodox Jew? Is that going to be discrimination? We're opening a Pandora's box here. I don't
think we're opening a Pandora's box. I think we're just moving forward. No more. We don't. Yeah, we don't live in the era of confirmed bachelors.
But you
anymore.
Don't respect my religious rights.
I do respect your religious rights.
You're moral,
but like any other rights conversation, again, where does your right to swing your fist end?
But I'm not touching you. You bring up Warren Jeffs. He hurt women. You brought up something else that all I'm doing is
who are Rastafarians hurting?
I don't know who that is.
Those are the Jamaican weed smokers.
Well, let's go to America.
Well, let's just they're actually in America as well.
We have a business in Grimes, Iowa, called the Gertz House, and this is owned by a Mennonite couple. And it's in an old Lutheran church. And they built this for a place for people who believe in Jesus and follow him and want the closest thing they can to a church wedding without belonging to a church. So a gay couple targeted. Now, let's remember that. They've admitted this is part of the lawsuit. They admit they specifically went there, and that's why they're going to lose the suit. They specifically went there. They didn't go to the Marriott. They didn't go to the they didn't come to Kitty's. They didn't go to any place else.
And do you know why?
Because they wanted to file a lawsuit.
They want to force it into the courts
Ben
because
Stone,
they know that's where it's friendly.
Yeah, Ben Stone from the ACLU wants this battle in the courts because you're exactly right. The left has taken the courts and got them all on their side, so it's biased.
Well, if you've got I don't think Bradshaw would be so happy if we had the court stacked with the conservatives and all the rulings was going against you.
I was going to say, there's no shortage of conservatives on the bench, and we've had plenty of rulings go against us.
No. But in this battle, in this fight...
Yeah, this is a losing battle.
Every time a state... Well, the people stand up and the majority speak. And they say, we don't want gay marriage in our state.
I'm sorry.
And then some liberal judge comes along and says, I'm going to overturn that.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'll say as a partisan Democrat, I love that Republicans are doing this. I love that Republicans are in the middle of a political climate, just for example, in Arizona, where for their own cred, their own skin, their own fundraising, to avoid Ted Cruz popping up and primarying them or whatever, that they have to vote for this turn away the gays bill. Then go to Jan Brewer and say, please veto this. I mean, imagine, again, the circumstances, the political tides that exist out there.
There's gutless people in the Republican Party. There's gutless people in the Republican Party, no doubt. But do you really think that Justice Harry Blackmun's 1965 Equal Protection Clause really was designed for this?
Well, we in Iowa say it has.
You think you think Blackmun's rolling over in his grave right now, knowing that this is what Equal Protection Clause
society
has been
evolves.
twisted to.
Society changes. Whether it changes for the better,
That's
it's
Antimonian
up to
law.
us.
That's Antimonian law. That moral law changes as the generations change. There's no moral absolute, moral relativity.
It does, even among Christians.
That's what Thomas Paine promoted, and he was dead wrong.
But me, for example, I believe in traditional marriage. If I have daughters, they will be married for political purposes. That's traditional marriage, or at least for a dowry and a nice sum of money. That's traditional marriage.
Well, and I'm going to regret asking you this.
All right. Lay it on me.
What do you mean that Christian morals have changed with society?
Oh.
Jesus has not changed in 2,000 years, and neither has his writing.
No, he's gotten whiter. Or I guess maybe,
what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
In his depictions?
No. You're
in 2,000 years.
What do you mean
much
by
whiter.
Christian morals have changed? Because
just for example, today you would have a lot harder time finding self-professed Christians, even preachers, pastors, and the like, advocating slavery because it's the correct order of things.
No, slavery is not.
And where was?
You're right. That's gone now.
Well,
that used to be.
Do you know who took it away in the Christian world?
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
No, then why were Southern preachers, pastors, and even a fair number of Northern
sinners
saying
do you know who got rid of?
Well, then you're just going to play no true Scotsman, and anyone who ever held the view that we find bad now was obviously not a true Christian.
Do you know it was a Christian that started the anti-slavery movement that ended it? William Wilberhouse.
I'm sure that a majority of abolitionists.
Okay.
But
So don't go to the Old Testament.
I'm not claiming that all Christians.
Okay, because there's nothing in the Gospels. There's nothing after Jesus came.
Well, no, but in the Old Testament, there's some handy dandy
rules. Do you
rules.
understand the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament?
I do.
Okay, and what is that?
Well, Jesus would be,
Okay, and what did Jesus say about what he's come for?
Well, any number of things, depending on, again, how you want to look at it.
No, no one would disagree that he came to forgive the sins of mankind and put a new covenant in place. He put a new covenant in place that says, if you believe in me, you shall have eternal life. No works.
But again, just another thing. Almost all of Jesus' immediate followers and that kind of generation or two that followed before the Gospels were actually written down all believed that the end times are right around the corner.
Yeah, they still are.
No, I mean, they believe they were right around the corner then.
So do I.
No, I mean, like, like the world was going to end 2,000 years ago. That area had no shortage.
But that doesn't prove any point.
Yeah, that doesn't make any difference.
No, but it's a place where doctrine has changed. Obviously, if you're, say, the Millerites, and you
let's
say
just talk about us Christians. You don't have.
Well, no, the Millerites are Christians. They're the Seventh-day Adventists.
Okay, those are not Christians. Seventh-day Adventists are not Christians. Mormons are not Christians. I'm talking about the basic principle of Christianity, that Jesus died so you can spend eternity with him. All of your sins are covered with grace, every single one of them, as long as you ask for repentance. Okay, every single one.
Okay.
Even the unforgivable sin
what does
is
that have to do
forgivable.
with denying gays the right to use your business?
Because I have religious rights according to the Constitution?
Yes, of course you do.
Okay, so who am I hurting when I tell a gay couple, you're not Christian, right? No, we don't. We're just gay, and we like to procreate, although we really can't, but we practice.
We try.
So we want to.
Straight people do many of those same things too.
We want to disrupt.
I can show you pictures.
We want to disrupt your life and put a lawsuit on you and stain you with the mark of doesn't like gay people, which isn't true, of course. But we're going to do this to make a point in the courts, and we're just going to pick on you. And when we're done with you, we're going to chew you up and spit you out because you don't matter to us. Why doesn't that couple in Grimes, Iowa have the right to say,
we don't serve your kind here?
Just go down the road and do it somewhere else. Why would you want to get married in a Christian place? The cross is going to be up. We're going to sing Christian hymns. Why would you want to be married there?
So your goal is separate but equal.
Why would they want to be married there, Bradshaw?
They want to have access to
The
get
problem of it is,
there.
Mac, it's not stopping with this. It's going to proceed to the 14th Amendment against for hate speech,
right?
Hate crimes,
right?
It don't stop with just, I'm not going to want you in my business, or I'm forcing my way into your business. They have an agenda, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're not going to stop here.
Then why are they so better at it than you guys? You know, if that's what you really believe, how are you guys losing so badly?
You know why? Because we have morals, and we have standards, and we have a God that we have to answer to. These people have nobody they answer to except themselves. If it feels good, let's do it. That's why.
That doesn't say why they're beating you, though. I mean, every step of the turn, not just, again, in the courts, but also in public opinion.
Well, they're beating us because the world is sinful.
How are they beating us in public opinion?
A majority of Americans support same-sex marriage.
No,
and
that's
have
not
for
true.
Which is the reason why all the legislation that they try always passes.
I mean, I'm
or
sorry,
never
Bradshaw.
passes.
No,
that's not
why
true.
is it lost to every vote of the people?
Yes. Yeah, I don't.
Well, again,
And
I'll explain to you why.
Because the people who are in favor of it don't vote, right?
The subset of voters, especially when you have these in off years or special elections, is very different than society
So
as
in
a
other words,
whole.
they don't care enough to come out
But
and
when
vote.
That's
Obama
part of
was
it,
on the
unfortunately.
ticket in California, when Obama was on the ticket, 70% of the people, black and Hispanic, who voted for him, voted against marijuana, voted against gay marriage.
In fact, the caravans from black churches, the Get Out the Vote movement was one of the reasons cited that Prop 8 passed in California. But you got to remember, candidate Obama was against same-sex marriage.
Right.
Candidate Obama, I think truly.
Candidate Obama was giving lip service
But no,
to something that was not in his heart. Come on.
Inauguration Day, President Obama
Yeah, Joe Biden changed his mind.
was
Come on.
against same-sex marriage. No, that was a political trial balloon, and it went over very well.
Yeah, and that's why Obama jumped on board.
You got to get in front of the mic.
And that's why Obama jumped on board.
It cleared some political room. Yeah, it did. It created political headway for Obama to come out and take the more popular position. It's almost like our politicians play politics with politics.
Don't you ever sit down? I mean, you have a significant other, you have a puppy. I don't know if you're going to have kids, but you're living a middle-class life. Don't you ever worry that one day you won't be the loudest and squeakiest wheel?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen.
Well, why would you allow your government to sway in a pendulum like that?
Because that's what society does. Pretty much ever since we stopped
But we've always had a basis of law.
What's the Constitution, though?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be the stone. That's supposed to be in stone so that we don't get veered off one way, left to the right.
Correct.
But Obama is walking outside the Constitution constantly, and Jonathan Turley, one of his...
He's doing things you disagree with. That's fine. Just say that.
Okay, go argue with Jonathan Turley.
Just say, he's doing things I disagree with. I would like to see
Jonathan
Team
Turley,
GOP.
a law professor, says he is, whether you're left or right, you ought to be concerned what he's
we're
doing.
coming back live here on Max World.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
All right, we're back here live on Max World. This program is being aired originally on the 27th day of February in 2014. This is the day after Jan Brewer in Arizona vetoed the religious rights bill, and we are discussing that. I have brought in my friend and my previous partner on the air of 5 years, Bradshaw. We also have some other folks, Paul Smith and Frank's in the office. So if you're listening to this on a podcast, it may be already outdated, but I think it's an important enough show. All right, so we have a phone call, and let's go to Chuck, who's live in Max World. How you doing, Chuck? Hello? Are we there? He's not there? Okay.
Ba weep, grana weep, nitty bong.
Yeah, I don't know. Chuck hung up, I guess. Chuck, are you there? One more time. Okay, Chuck, feel free to call back.
Chuck the boogie? Nope.
Okay, I want to try to understand something here, Bradshaw, and I really do want to understand. This is not a rhetorical question. when a gay couple targets a business they know is Christian and asks to have a Christian wedding performed by this business.
Does the business actually perform the weddings, like the old couple gets up and does the ceremony?
They can, but you're also welcome to bring in another pastor or I mean, in the state of Iowa, anybody can marry anybody. You don't have to have any license or big P or little P. I could marry you and your bride. Anybody could marry anybody.
These days,
they target simply to disrupt their lives. When there are another 100 places in our community that would gladly take their business. Why is that not raping my religious rights? I'm not hurting anybody.
Now, again, someone out there really needs to form a defense squad that probably paid before by the GOP itself, that whenever any Republican uses the word rape, some sort of response squad says, shut up, because that never goes well.
Here's the reason I use that word. Because what they've done to this couple and what they've done to their business...
Hold them accountable under the law? Egads.
What law? What law?
That same-sex couples are a protected class in the state of Iowa and have been.
That's not a law.
Yeah, that's not a law. That's just a judge's
court
decision.
ruling.
Well, that's law.
It's not. It's not a law yet. Let me tell you what the law of the land is.
Did the legislator make that law and the Congress decide whether it was...
No, what it found out was that basically same-sex married or same-sex couples and homosexuals, gays, lesbians, transgendered, and any other social justice terms I'm missing right now aren't not covered by the law.
Okay, but understand, you and it may be just a point, but you're not saying the right thing because it's not a law. Judges can't make laws. Only the legislature can.
Correct.
Okay,
but
the law of the land is DOMA.
When they say,
that's the law of the land. That has not been overturned by any president, by any court, by anything. Okay, DOMA is the law of the land. If our attorney general did his job, he'd say, I got to lift DOMA if I'm going to give these states permission to change the federal law.
Now, that is true. That is one place where I know a number of liberals were saying, don't support this bill. I don't like that precedent. I don't, because when, President Meghan McCain takes office, Republicans will use the exact same precedent, for like the Voting Rights Act, things like that. So I don't like that precedent. I'm not saying you have to give a full-throated defense, but I don't think you're allowed to just throw your hands up. I don't like that concept moving forward.
I still don't understand what concept.
Of not defending the laws in court in this case.
DOMA?
Yeah.
You think it's okay that the Attorney General isn't defending a law?
I just said the exact opposite.
At Obama's instruction.
No, I don't like that precedent. I don't, because it will be used against us.
That's right.
So you have argued a circle, and you have now concluded that...
It's not a circle. I don't like that precedent. I don't think it's a good strategy.
But based upon what you just said, then homosexual marriage is not the law. You just basically have said that in a circular motion.
Homosexual marriage is the law in the state of Iowa. There's no law banning it.
But the law in the land is DOMA. There is no law that has overturned DOMA. There is only an activist judge who says an opinion. They don't make law. They don't make law. I mean, you don't argue with me on that, right? They don't make law.
Well, not in the legislative sense, but it was where we have separate and equal
branches.
branches.
Uphold laws.
Do you believe that judges are just like, I don't know, Donald Call in the Register? They just write an opinion and we can read it and maybe learn something from it, chuckle, and then we're going to go over and see what Kathy's up to today.
Actually, I think a lot of judges are activist judges. They are politically driven.
Activist judge just means a judge that does something I disagree with. That's what that term's always meant.
Well, when an activist judge overturns the law of the land without legislative support, that's activism. That's not real.
We have
He's
a Supreme
not
Court
really...
that does that all the time. That's their job to do that.
Okay.
That's what they're there for.
So you think it's, you don't, and then we're going to wrap this up and we're going to go to talking about elections.
All right.
So you don't think Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting my free exercise therefore. You think when I own a Christian business and I choose not to do business with somebody because they want, the very product that they want is against my religion.
But it's the very product you sell to the public. And if you sell to the public, you sell to the public, not the subsect of the public that I personally agree with. You sell to the public.
But it's I own the business.
Correct.
You don't. It's not a government business. I own it. It's my business.
Correct.
You think the government should have the power to tell me I have to do business with anybody and everybody?
Yes, Woolworths. We've established this. We did it 50 years ago.
Which is
that's
nice
because of color of skin. That's different.
Which is nice because that means that Bradshaw can go to Victoria's Secret to buy his bras and panties.
Exactly. Although they never have anything that's in my size. It always rides up is the problem.
Okay. Do you understand, and I hate this word because I think it's a vulgar word, but it's the bigot word. You're a bigot then.
Okay, I understand the
and
term.
You come up with a different term because I don't like that word.
No,
but you're basically telling me, even though the law says I have the right, you're saying the law's wrong.
He's
no,
saying
I'm saying the law does not mean what you want it to mean.
He thinks their protected class rights
They
trump
are.
your civil rights.
Constitutional rights.
Don't get you wrong. If you guys want to get a doom room, buy a survival seed bank and some food insurance and get yourself a doomsday bunker and live apart from society, Unabomber style, you never have to. You can say whatever you'd like about homosexuals, bisexuals, whatever. If you want to stand on a street corner and tell everyone they look like a flaming homo, you know what?
But
that one might get you.
But my law has been in place for 200 and some years. It says that you cannot make a law prohibiting my free exercise of religion.
But we do. Again, ask Warren Jeffs. We do.
That doesn't hurt anybody. Come on. Why do you keep going back to Warren Jeffs? We've established that this is not Warren Jeffs.
Because it's the same way you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater or threaten to kill the president.
Okay, and if I do, what happens?
In that case, you're going to get a nice visit from the Secret Service or arrested.
As we argued this on your program once before, where exactly does it say, I mean, free speech is free speech. Now, if we want to come together as a society and we want to say it's taboo to yell fire in a movie theater, we have the right to police our own speech. But speech is speech.
Correct.
And you, somebody, and I asked you this before, you as somebody who have made your living with your mouth and your speech, you certainly should be the first one to be defending free speech.
I am a defender of free speech, but that doesn't mean that you can, for example, just make up claims in children's commercials. There's still a standard.
All right.
It's not an absolute.
When we come back, we're going to talk about presidential candidates because in Iowa, that's right around the corner. Live here in Mac's World. Psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
All across America, there are countless numbers of people struggling with addiction and other life-controlling issues. Probably someone you know and love. There is a way out. there is hope. Transformations Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida, has a unique approach to substance abuse treatment. Call now and ask about our Guaranteed Success program or log on to transformationstreatment.com. Transformations. Change your life, change your relationships, transform your world.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
"20 minutes after the hour, and we're going to go here for about 20 more minutes, maybe 25, and then we're going to end because Rabbi Kaufman, correct, Ryan, comes in at 2 o'clock to do his show called Understanding the World. All right. You want to talk about senatorial and congressional races, or you want to go straight to the presidency?
The presidency is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and it's not a Chris Christie crack.
Is Hillary's running? We know that.
We think it's basically hers if she wants it.
Who else do you see out there on the Democratic side?
Amy Klobuchar from
who?
The senator from Minnesota.
Say the name again.
Amy Klobuchar.
Amy Klobuchar.
Yeah. Martin O'Malley out in Maryland. And the one I would really like to see run in one of those push the conversation ways is Elizabeth Warren. I think Democrats, to our disservice, have gotten a little too enthralled by Capitol, Wall Street, and the like. And I think she would be a good hedge against that because banks are scared to death of her.
Who was O'Malley?
Martin O'Malley?
Martin
O'Malley gave the worst speech at the 2008 Democratic National Convention.
So you have 3 women and a man as the front runners.
I mean, Biden's in there, obviously, because he's the vice president. I think he's going to wait. If Hillary decides she doesn't want to do it, he's up.
Okay. Tell me, and I think that's an interesting conversation. Why wouldn't Hillary run?
Health.
Health?
Not health per se. More so along the lines of look at George Bush. All right, in January of 2001. Look at what he looked like when you leave office. Look at candidate Obama in 2007. Look at him today. That job ages you. It's high stress. It's low sleep. I don't want to get a whole Abby Bartlett on anyone here, but it tears you apart from the inside. It is a hard job, and that not everyone. I mean, maybe Hillary says, you know what, I've done enough. Me personally, I want to see a complete Django Unchained revenge flick. Quentin Tarantino. Okay. Since the early 90s, you have accused me and my family of being killers, drug dealers. You could get nationally publicized in the early 90s by claiming that the Clintons actually decorated their family Christmas tree with sex toys and condoms. You've called my then 14-year-old daughter a dog on national television.
So you think
I would love to see the Hillary Clinton revenge fantasy.
So you'd like to see a president elected because they have revenge against the country?
No, not the country.
Half of the country.
No, not even half the country. The wingnuts of the GOP.
The vast right-wing conspiracy.
Exactly.
So
I
you
would
think
love
revenge
to see that.
is a good motivation to be the president of the free world?
I think Hillary is one of the most qualified human beings on the face of the earth to be the president, and that doesn't even include. I don't know, what do you call him? The first dude?
What qualifies her?
She got 4 people killed in Benghazi that Sean Smith's mother still hasn't gotten an apology.
Well, she said that doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, but what if it was,
I feel,
what if
you know what?
What if it was
hold
Chelsea?
on. No, hold on. Stop for a second, because I knew Sean Smith.
That's right.
I knew Sean Smith. And watching various right-wing talk show hosts, pundits, grifters in a lot of cases, you know, really parade her around. I feel really bad for her, and I'm really sickened. This is a hurt woman. And I'm not going to claim to know what her relationship with Sean was, but I can tell you the last thread I believe he ever posted on the Something Awful forums was to post crazy forwarded emails you have received from family members. I believe that was the last one he personally.
Okay, what does this have to do with Hillary Clinton running for president?
Posted. I don't know. I mean,
she's going to have to answer
the Benghazi.
Benghazi.
No, I want you guys. Here's the thing. You know, the Republicans always.
You're getting kind of defensive. Is this?
No.
You think this is a powerful?
No, the Sean Smith thing bothers me because I knew him.
Well,
so
don't make it personal. He's dead.
He is,
and he was killed by this administration.
How so?
They did not go in and protect that when they knew there was trouble brewing, and when it came time to take responsibility, they totally shrugged it off.
See, now this is, you know, this is the exact narrative in kind of the right wing.
No, this
media
is true.
bubble. This is
something did happen, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, what's the truth?
The truth is most likely that there was a CIA black ops site just down the road from our little consul there. In Benghazi, which is what's going to always obscure the after-action report because the CIA is never going to come.
So what happened?
Straightforward. But our consulate was attacked, and 4 people
died. Should anybody be held responsible for those people dying?
Who should be held responsible, and what exactly were their misdeeds?
Well, if you're the president of the United States, you're sworn to take care of those people. And Hillary Clinton, the woman that you think's qualified to be president, said in front of a Senate committee, losing her cool, tell me what matters. Tell me why it matters.
Well, if Chelsea...
And if I'm running against Hillary Clinton, that's my television commercial.
Great. Please do. Because, I mean this with all due respect. No one but wingnuts hung up on Benghazi.
But what I'm asking is...
Nobody but wingnuts. This is where... Just can we make one quick? This is where the right-wing media bubble, and you guys can back me up. Well, you too. But I've been saying this for years, that the right-wing media bubble and the reality that it creates is the best tool Democrats have right now. Our weak sauce, weak-kneed, testicularly challenged Democrats or ovarianly challenged.
And you know why?
But the best tool we have is the Republican fantasy land that they all live in and communicate in. They have their own shibboleths.
You know why? Because we tell the truth, and you people can't stand the truth.
Then why
and
do
so
you keep
can
losing?
What?
Why did
I'll tell you why we keep losing. Because you
why do
give
you
free
lose?
stuff.
Why did
you give free... Frank, hold on. Your side gives free stuff to buy elections.
What free stuff did we give to buy elections?
Free cell phones.
You mean like Medicare Part D?
Free cell phones.
That's actually a Reagan-era program. You know that, right?
Okay, but it
Lifeline? That's a Reagan-era program. That George Bush actually converted from landlines to cell phones. Just for
so
example.
It's George Bush's fault.
No, Ronald Reagan's.
Okay, so you're saying, because we're wrapping it up.
But that is a Reagan-era program.
So you're telling me that everything that Obama has been accused of has been manufactured by the right-wing wingnuts.
No, the right-wing fantasy world where Benghazi is some sort of great giant cover-up, which I'm still waiting to hear what the cover-up was.
All right, so NSA?
Oh, that's absolutely horrible. But that was the same thing I was arguing back in 2005 when Republicans were telling me what a great idea warrantless wiretapping was. Remember? I was having that argument with sitting congressmen at the time.
But your guys put it on steroids.
No, my guys continued it, and they're wrong to do that. I agree.
You can keep your plan. You can keep your doctor. You back him up on that?
No, that was a horrible oversimplification.
So why do you want him and his kind to continue running our government?
Because I've lived under the other kind.
And okay. All right, here's what we're going to do. This program's going to end if you're listening to this on over the air. We're going to just take a half a second when the time is up. Ryan, leave everything running, and then we'll continue this conversation for about another 10 or 12 minutes until we need to clear the studio for our next guest. So if you're listening on over-the-air radio, thanks for listening. Bradshaw and I will be back the next time he has a day off, and we appreciate you listening here to webcast1live.com. Okay, Bradshaw. What has this administration, all on its own, done that disgusts you?
Disgusts me?
You wouldn't vote for them again. They're supposed to be your leader, and they betrayed you or abandoned you or lied to you or
who?
No, I'm asking. Maybe your answer is nothing.
No, I mean I'm certainly disappointed with the Obama administration, but for the reasons that I told you. It's that corporatist, kind of centrist weak side. In fact, one of the reasons, in fact, you were there. I had it out with Terry McAuliffe, who was at the time the Hillary campaign money man, day or two before the Iowa caucuses. And as someone who remembers, all the bad that came from kind of Bill Clinton's, kind of centrist ways, and some of it was just a survival mechanism, sure. But I didn't want kind of that third way triangulating. Okay. Truth is always in the middle.
So don't
Democrat,
you think you're going to get that?
And I did not think that I would get that from Obama, and I did.
But you'll get it from Hillary.
I don't know.
It's McAuliffe.
Well, no, he's actually the governor of Virginia now.
That doesn't matter.
He's not involved.
It's the Democratic machine. It buys votes. Yeah. It lies to get elected.
Oh, I mean, every politician buys votes. Ours just doesn't come in the form of an F-35.
So you're okay with buying votes. You're okay.
No, that's reality. Both sides.
Are you okay with it?
Do it. I would prefer to get the money out of politics. I've said this for a long time.
Did George Bush Sr. pay for read my lips, no new taxes?
Yeah, I would say so. I think
Barack Obama stood up before the American people and he said nobody's taxes that makes under $200,000 is going up, but yet they fought health care in the courts as a tax.
No, actually, that was Justice Roberts that came up with the tax. That wasn't the Solicitor General.
They fought it in a courtroom out in Virginia as a tax.
Yeah, they
based
did.
on the 16th Amendment.
Yeah, that was the only way they knew they could win in the Supreme Court, by arguing it as a tax.
That wasn't. I mean, the Solicitor General did a very horrible job. I think everyone can agree on the Obamacare arguments.
Okay.
But at the end of the day,
why would you want that machine to continue forward when you know it's corrupt?
Define corrupt. I don't think it's corrupt. I don't think, and then this is the fiction
Right.
that
You don't think lying to the American people about you can keep your same doctor, you can keep your. You don't think that's hideous? There are people with cancer dying right now because they don't have health care, because they trusted the president when he said you can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan, and they're dying.
No, I look, is any law perfect? I want a universal single payer.
Okay, but why would you continue to elect
because
the same
I know what
corrupt...
Republicans do.
What do we do?
Well, short of, I don't know, everything from...
Tell me where George Bush lied to the American people and it
We know where the weapons of mass destruction are.
Yeah, he moved them. We now found
This is the fantasy that Republicans tell themselves.
Did we find...
And by the way, this is why you guys are not existent as a national
How come
party.
it's made it in the news that Syria has the largest stockpiles of chemical weapons
these are
in the world?
I'm telling guys.
Where'd they get them? Where'd they get them?
It's a fact that Syria has these.
Well,
They've
and
given
not
them up.
How is it that Saddam Hussein couldn't have weapons of mass destruction?
Because we were in his house looking for them.
But yet
Remember
he
Hans
had
Blix?
the ability to use them. You can't use something you don't have, and it's well documented that he used them against the Kurds.
Well, he did when we were selling them to him. back in the 80s. Guess
had
what?
them.
We stopped selling them to him.
So he had weapons of mass destruction. He used them. You admit that.
Yeah.
We don't care where he got them. He had them.
Yeah.
So when George Bush said he's got them, that was the truth.
And
no,
when
that's like
he
saying
didn't-
I have measles. I had it at one point in the past.
Okay, and now they've come up again in Syria, same weapons grade.
No, dude, I don't know if you're aware of how, well, I know you're not aware of how chemical weapons work. They have a very short shelf life. They don't, like, for example, when in the Iraq War, they would come across, buried crap, and they would find shells of chemical weapons from the mid to late 80s. And then every wingnut blog, Free Republic and the like, would go, see, we found the weapons of mass destruction. They have a very short shelf life. They're not viable weapons.
So who made the sarin
6
gas that Syria is about to give up? Who made that?
That I don't know. You'd have to look at like Brown Moses.
So you
He's
don't
done
know
a
where
very
they
good
came
job.
from. You don't know where they came from.
I would assume it was
you're assuming.
I would assume it was made domestically, but I'm
you're
not
assuming.
sure.
I appreciate your assumption.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they came from Iraq.
All right, but I'm just saying, do you believe that view is a long-term political viable option? Like that's a winning argument.
Well, when
to
you continue to come back and tell me that George Bush lied about that.
Well, we know.
No,
that
we
he
don't
did.
know.
Your guy promised change.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
And he
it's in my pocket.
And he appoints the same Goldman Sachs type people to the banking industry. There was somebody that went against him. Obama wanted a 30-year fixed mortgage as one of the items that you can have when you go get a home loan. This guy voted against it, and the same guy gets put under what was the guy with the tax evasion?
I don't know, but anyway, go ahead.
But no, I agree.
Tim Geithner. He was under Tim Geithner.
Yeah, I agree. Democrats and their rubbing up to Wall Street and the in and out of Goldman Sachs regulatory capture. I agree. Those are bad things.
So there's no difference, Republican or Democrat, when it comes to our financial policy in this country, basically.
Well, no, in our financial policy, there's a big difference. Just for example, Democrats never took a budget surplus and turned it into a huge deficit for tax cuts.
You never had a budget
for
surplus.
tax cuts for rich people. But and again, this is a matter
And you
of
define rich people as anyone with a job. Is that correct?
No.
It seems like that's the case.
What do you define rich person as?
I don't know that there is a definition, quite honestly.
What do you believe the top marginal tax rate should be?
I don't think there should
What
be
do you
one.
think is the top marginal tax rate?
I don't think there should be a
36%.
marginal tax rate. I think something like value added or a sales tax makes more sense.
You want to do a national sales tax?
Absolutely.
All right, that's a dead. I mean, that's just a dead idea.
Why wouldn't
nationally.
that be fair?
Ask no.
Yeah,
I mean, rich people would pay more taxes.
What you would do is create probably the largest government bureaucracy that doesn't involve the military, because the only way that with this, like a flat rate for kind of the basic necessities of life, and you get that back every month.
Let me ask you: if George Bush was at his State of the Union and stood up and said, "I've got a phone and I've got a pen," do you think the Democrats would get up and cheer George Bush? But yet your side
would depend on the context. For example, if he sat up and said, "You know what? I've decided I don't want to be in office anymore. Get the Chief Justice down here." There would be thunderous applause.
Yeah.
It looked like the end of.
But
Return
you're
of
going
the
he's
Jedi.
going to raise the federal minimum wage to $10.10, which the CBO says is going to put it. And it's you guys are always the one that's touting the CBO, and the CBO says it's going to cost 500,000 jobs. So you're gonna get rid of 500,000 people to give some more poor people $3 more an hour.
Yeah.
That's a transfer of wealth from the poor to the poor. That's good policy.
Transfer of the wealth from the poor to the poor.
You're not hurting the rich.
It's increasing. Well, that's not what business owners say. That's not what McDonald's says. Not what Walmart says.
So what happens if you're a business owner and they do raise the minimum wage to $10 an hour and you're making $10.15 an hour?
you're going to have to compete for my labor. Egads.
What do you mean?
That means if you're going to pay me $10, $15 an hour and my job sucks and you give me,
Why didn't Obama raise it to $50 an hour?
Or $5,000 an hour. Instead of raising someone out of the poverty level, why don't we raise them to millionaire status?
Well, nice concept.
What would
I don't want to live in Zimbabwe.
So what would a Big Mac cost at that point?
Well,
$20,000.
It might, but my point is, if the minimum wage is $10.10 and you're paying me $10.15, well, now you have to compete for my labor. I know it's a
no,
kind of
I don't.
Foreign,
you have to decide whether you're getting screwed or not.
It's kind of a foreign concept.
How did that work?
Here in America, but if I can...
No, it's not.
Oh, competing for labor is a...
The unions put that in place in Detroit 60 years ago, and how did that work out?
Detroit worked out very well until we started to deunionize in the early 70s.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
It didn't have anything to do with Japan and Germany coming back and building better cars, did it?
That absolutely had part of it. Absolutely.
Most of it.
Didn't have anything to do with Japanese people having to be forced to take vacations and want to come in early and do mandatory calisthenics.
No, I don't think it was that.
How was our unions pretty much keeping up with them?
No, I think the issue was when and this goes back, to the gas lines and all that fun stuff. American car companies decided they weren't going to go, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. We're going to build, the Canyonero, and we're going to build these giant, obnoxious, poorly built vehicles. And this is our strategy going forward. They got absolutely creamed.
How much of the world driving population is left-hand versus right-hand drive?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
It's almost entirely right-hand drive. Now, when the Japanese import a car to the United States, how do they build it? They build it left-hand drive. Detroit made the decision that when they exported cars, they were not going to build a different car. Thus, they were building something that the market didn't want anyway. They couldn't compete nationally or globally rather, because of their attitude.
Yeah. What union member made that decision? That sounds like a C-level executive.
Well, when you have...
And that's my point. You guys want to blame this all on the unions, but they're not the ones calling the shots. They're the ones putting in the screws.
No. You don't know the union if you don't think they're at C-level.
No, the C-level executives aren't members of the union. No, in fact, I don't
but
think
members
they're
of the
allowed to
union are C-level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you're making this $10.15 an hour paycheck and minimum wage goes to $10.10, you as an individual, how do you feel about that?
Yippee, I'm probably getting a raise. Or else...
Why would you assume you're getting a raise?
Because if my employer wants to keep me, they're going to have to offer me more than 5 cents an hour over minimum wage, or I can go find a better job
that pays $10.10.
That I'm not going to take a significant income hit.
So everything goes up accordingly. The union wages go up.
The guy who's making $10.15 or $3 an hour over is suddenly going to make $13.15 in your mind.
Probably not that, but you probably get kicked up to 11 or 12, which I think would make everyone better off. Oh, and by the way, here's the biggest reason why you do the minimum wage increase, and that is 70% of our economy is consumer demand.
So let's say
ask Walmart what happens when you cut food stamps. I mean, in all reality, their business suffers because at that income level, 100% of what goes in goes back out. That's why there's such a good return on investment for things like food stamps or extending unemployment insurance, because that money immediately gets spent.
That's Peg Bundy economics.
No, it's not Peg Bundy economics. That's Moody's economics.
When you are this business owner then who, whether through supply and demand of the labor pool or whether through the goodness of your heart, suddenly raise all of your expenses in the form of labor 20 or 30%, what happens to your pricing?
Well, that's going to depend on the market. You hope that your demand goes up.
It goes up.
Okay,
yeah, so it absolutely goes up.
So somebody hires somebody at a grocery store because of this extra food stamp supply that's been pumped into the system. So they go and they have to hire an extra checkout clerk. You're basically wrapping your arms and endorsing trickle-down economics.
No, it's trickle-up economics.
How's that trickle up?
Because what we're doing is putting money in people's hands. People spend that money.
Artificially putting money in their hands.
Whose money are you putting in their hands? You're putting mine. You're putting every taxpayer's money.
Yeah, this is one of the kind of rules of society, and this goes back to when humans stopped being hunter-gatherers
But
and
it's still,
started.
It's still Peg Bundy economics.
Peg Bundy economics. It's economics.
When Peg Bundy was selling cosmetics and she was using Al Bundy's money to buy it, and she's her own best customer, that's Peg Bundy economics. We're paying our people to live. We're paying our people to go to the store and shop, so somebody else can have a job.
And if you take the
which, by the
minimum
way,
wage and you raise
companies
it, and
like
then,
Walmart and Best Buy love because it increases their business.
and when you take the minimum wage and you raise it, and thus all other prices increase, which they will, to the point that there's no
depending on which study
purchasing
you look
power
at,
on
again,
10.10 an hour.
Economists are not universal in the minimum wage and its effect on inflation nationwide and pricing, because let's be honest, there's not a whole lot of elasticity in some of the prices. We're not in that kind of economy right now.
All right, we got to wrap up. One question real quick. Yeah. Where do you think Michelle Obama, what role do you think she'll play in future presidential or national elections?
I don't know.
You see her as a candidate?
I think whatever the Obamas do going forward, I think they'll, for the most part, do it together. I think if we're lucky.
You mean vacation?
No, I think if we're lucky as a nation, what we're going to see is a very Jimmy Carter-esque. Because we can all agree Jimmy Carter was a much better ex-president than president.
One more
But he
question.
still created more jobs than the Bush administration. Just putting that out there.
What if after Obama is gone, we discover that he wasn't who he said he was? What should be the consequences? Because we know he's a liar. We know he says things to get elected. What if
he's a politician, you mean?
What if, in fact, that we find out that he wasn't who he said he was?
In what context? What do you believe? Are you going down the birther route?
Oh, you can go birther. You can go the fact that he took money as a foreign student. So how could he have been
These are all right-wing.
Okay, I'm just asking you, what if we find out they're true?
Then we deal with them and the reality that's involved.
Doesn't that
Republicans aren't strong with right now?
Doesn't that negate his presidency if he
No.
wasn't eligible to be president?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we don't allow baseball players. We don't allow their records to be in place if we find that they've used steroids. So why would the president?
Yeah, Barry Bonds' record is still there. He's the all-time home run leader.
And in the Hall of Fame.
Now, go back to the 1960s. Mickey Mantle and Henry Aaron were popping amphetamines every day.
But, so I'm just trying
and their records are still in the book.
I'm just trying to gauge where your soul is. If you find out this president really did pull one over on us, you still support him?
I mean, to me, that's as likely as finding out he is in fact a Sith Lord.
I'm just asking you, would you still support him?
Well, no, I'd be really ticked off.
Okay. And the people that made that happen, you wouldn't have faith in them anymore, would you?
I made that happen. Do I not have faith in me?
No, I wouldn't think you would have. I would hope you would seriously question your ability to judge character.
If you believe that any of those things are likely to happen, and like I said, I believe it is more likely Barack Obama will pull off some sort of plastic sheeting, and he'll go, ouch, because it turns out he's actually eating.
Why won't he release his school records? What's the big secret?
I have no idea.
That you might find out he's a Muslim? That you might find out he filed...
Okay, hold on, Frank. So... What if he was a Muslim?
Then he lied to us because he said he wasn't. He said he was a Christian.
What if he converted sometime around age 24?
Oh, but he said when he was being elected that he was a Christian, that he went to Jeremiah Wright's church, he believed in Christ. Mm-hmm. But what if he lied just to get elected?
Jeremiah Wright said he never knew of a conversion of Barack Obama to Christianity.
All right, we have to wrap this up.
but just understand this. All right, and I say this like literally as friends from the left. the Ted Cruzes of the world, the Rand Pauls, the Benghazi conspiracy theories, and the Darrell Isas are the best tool my side has right now at maintaining an electoral, advantage
because then you don't talk about the facts.
Well, again, we're not the one bringing these things up. You guys are, and this bubble that conservatives have created, and I don't know whether it's a healing function, like a blister or a scab after the Bush years, or just a reaction to not getting your way. I don't know. I couldn't. Someone's going to make a lot of money figuring out the genesis of this bubble. Some priority is making a lot of money, having figured out the genesis of this bubble. But it is the single greatest tool for Democrats and the single greatest thing holding rational Republicans back and keeping them from...
and hold on, and that's your opinion, and I appreciate that, but it's not backed up with facts.
By the way,
look at the last couple of elections.
By the way, it's Austin Goolsbee,
P.S.
who went to school with Ted Cruz. It says, do not underestimate Ted Cruz.
I don't underestimate Ted Cruz. That'd be like underestimating Ted Bundy.
All right, let's wrap this up. Understanding the World with Rabbi Kaufman comes next. Bradshaw, nice to have you here. Paul, Frank, thanks.
Always a hoot.
Next time you get a day off, we'd love to have you come back. Bring a couple people from your side. Bring Claire Celsey. She's absolutely crazy. I'd love to have her on the radio. Or my favorite liberal, Bruce Stone. Bring him in. The people who really are the driving force behind your party, and we'll just start counting crazies.
They're not the driving force of my party. You guys are.
We'll see you when
that.
you come back. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job, and I couldn't do it without you. Live here on Max World, powered by webcast1live.com.